All right, so picture this, like a perfect ordinary evening.
Okay.
Like it's Monday, the sun's just set, in the Kamardi district of Telangana.
Uh-huh.
And we're in these small villages like Durki Damaranch and Koltanda.
Okay.
The air's still warm and folks are settling down, maybe with some locally brewed
Right?
toddies.
Fresh from the palm trees.
Exactly. It's like a timeless scene.
Absolutely. It really is. That's the rhythm of life in a lot of these like rural communities.
Yeah.
These traditions are just woven into daily life.
Exactly.
That connection to the land and its natural bounty.
Totally.
It's not just sustenance, it's social bonding.
It's part of the local flavor.
Yeah.
But then less than 24 hours later, that picture totally shatters.
Whoa.
By Tuesday, April 8th, 2025, the reports are coming in 73 people hospitalized.
Wow.
Just like that, from a normal Monday evening to dozens needing urgent medical attention.
Yeah. That's a huge number.
And it wasn't just like a stomach bug.
Right.
We're hearing about neck pain, intense body aches, joints locking up, and then these neurological issues.
Yeah. That's concerning.
Yeah, that's a red flag.
It is. It's a dramatic shift.
It really is. I mean, that kind of rapid and widespread onset of those kinds of symptoms, it's just a very significant, likely common source of exposure.
Right.
And the variety of complaints, especially the neurological stuff, along with the physical pain, that suggests something more complex than just your average foodborne illness.
Right.
This is something interacting with the body's systems in a different way.
Yeah, and when you look at where these 73 individuals ended up, it's really alarming.
Oh, really?
43 in the Banswara Government Area Hospital.
Wow.
That's a huge number.
Yeah.
Then another 14 in Nizamabad GGH4 and Kamardi GGH.
Right.
A couple in a private hospital in Kamardi, and even a handful of outpatients and private cases in Banswara.
So it wasn't just like a single village?
No, it wasn't isolated at all. It spread across multiple communities.
Wow.
Makes you think about how widely distributed this batch of toddy was. Yeah, I mean, spreading across all those different medical facilities,
Right.
that must have really stretched those local healthcare resources pretty thin.
Definitely.
And I think it also suggests that the authorities immediately recognized this could be serious,
Yeah.
and they needed to distribute the patients to manage it properly.
Right.
And the fact that people went to different kinds of hospitals, too,
Oh.
I think shows that people were aware and concerned.
Yeah, they knew something was wrong.
Absolutely.
And then what makes this even more intriguing is that very quickly 4 arrests were made.
Oh, wow.
This wasn't treated as just an accident.
Right.
They suspect something more.
So you start thinking, like, was it contamination during the brewing process? Was
Yeah.
it deliberate adulteration?
Right, or something else entirely.
Yeah.
And they brought in the forensic lab.
Oh, wow. So they're looking for answers on a molecular level.
Yeah, they're not messing around.
No, they're not.
And for anyone who's not familiar, toddy is basically fermented sap from palm trees. It's a naturally produced, mildly alcoholic beverage.
So it's like a traditional drink,
Yeah, it's been part of the local culture for generations.
right?
People enjoy it casually. It's a traditional way to relax.
Uh-huh.
It's not something you associate with a mass medical emergency.
Right? It's like your everyday cup of tea suddenly becoming harmful.
Exactly. It's unexpected.
It really is. And, toddy, in its traditional unadulterated form,
Right.
it goes through a natural fermentation process.
Yeah.
So for it to cause a health crisis like this,
Yeah.
it points to some kind of external contaminant
Right.
or a deliberate addition of something harmful.
Right.
It's not the usual profile of this beverage.
No.
It raises questions about quality control and safety.
So that's the puzzle we're trying to piece together today. We want to take you right into the heart of this toddy trouble.
Okay.
We'll trace the timeline, look at how people reacted, and delve into the possible reasons behind this whole situation. It touches on so many things: public health, local traditions, food safety, the speed at which things can change.
Yeah, and I think it really asks us to think about the connection between community life, public health, and those traditional practices in a modern context.
Yeah, so we know Monday evening was a normal one in those villages.
Right, people were enjoying their toddy.
Probably sharing stories and winding down for the day.
Right.
Then Tuesday hits, and boom, the problem becomes clear. 73 hospitalizations across all these different facilities.
It wasn't just a small thing. This was a widespread health emergency.
Exactly, and it needed immediate attention.
And that overnight surge in illnesses,
Yeah.
that really suggests a short window of exposure.
Right.
And the symptoms hit fast.
Yeah.
So that time frame is going to be key for investigators
Right.
to figure out the exact substance and its effects. It also suggests it was pretty potent, whatever it was.
Yeah, and the response from the authorities seems like it was immediate. Ambulances were deployed especially to get people to that government area hospital in Benswada,
Okay.
which became the main receiving point.
Uh,
That kind of mobilization shows how seriously they took this right away.
yeah, a well-coordinated emergency response is crucial in these situations.
For sure.
Efficient transport and getting the patients to the right places
Right.
allows for better diagnosis, treatment, and monitoring.
Exactly.
And it shows the community that the authorities are taking it seriously and are there to help.
Yeah, it builds trust.
Right.
But they didn't just focus on getting people to the hospitals.
Oh.
The health department launched these door-to-door health surveys in Durkee Damaranch and Uncle Tunda.
Wow. So they were going house to house.
Yeah, looking for anyone experiencing symptoms who hadn't sought help yet.
That's smart.
It suggests they were worried the problem might be bigger than they initially thought.
Right. They were being proactive, making sure they didn't miss anyone.
Exactly. They were casting a wide net.
And that kind of active surveillance is critical in a potential outbreak.
Yeah.
By going directly into the communities, health officials can find milder cases, prevent further spread,
Right.
and get a more accurate understanding of just how big the problem is.
Yeah.
And it also helps build trust with the community.
Yeah. They're showing they care.
Exactly.
Now, one detail that stood out to me was the mention of psychiatrists being involved.
Oh, really?
That implies the symptoms weren't just physical.
Right.
Those neurological issues must have been significant.
Wow. So they needed mental health professionals, too.
Yeah, it makes you think about what they ingested.
Oh.
Was it a neurotoxin?
Yeah, something affecting their minds as well as their bodies.
Right. And while all this is happening, we can't forget about those 4 individuals.
Right. The Toddy 4,
Yeah, they're in custody waiting for the results of the forensic lab report.
that report's going to be crucial.
It's the key to unlocking this mystery.
Absolutely. It'll provide the scientific evidence they need
Yeah.
to determine if there were any illegal substances, if there was contamination during production, or if any safety regulations were broken.
Right.
It'll be the foundation for any legal action and will help inform future prevention measures.
We also heard from local officials like Subcollector K. Kiranmai and Collector Ashish Sengwan,
Okay.
and their statements emphasized how serious this is.
Yeah.
They weren't just dealing with the immediate crisis.
Right.
They were checking to see if this toddy had been distributed more widely.
To try and prevent further spread.
Yeah, and they're already talking about preventative measures to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Wow. So they're really taking it seriously.
Yeah, they understand the potential for a bigger problem, and they're being proactive.
It sounds like they're on top of it.
Yeah, and this whole episode highlights the significant role toddy plays in the local economy and culture.
Yeah, it's not just a drink.
It's a source of income for families.
Right.
It's part of social gatherings. It's a deeply ingrained tradition.
Absolutely.
And this crisis casts a shadow on something that's always been a source of enjoyment.
And livelihood.
Exactly. It raises questions about the safety and future of these traditional practices.
Traditional food and beverage industries are often so central to local economies and culture.
Yeah.
But they can also be vulnerable to inconsistencies in production.
Right.
And they might lack proper quality control.
Yeah.
So something like this can have huge consequences.
Right.
It can impact livelihoods, erode trust in these products, and force us to reevaluate safety and regulations in these often informal sectors.
So as we try to understand this toddy trouble, it raises a fundamental question.
Okay.
If toddy production is such a long-standing tradition,
Right.
what led to this widespread health crisis in 2025?
Yeah, what changed?
Or what risks were overlooked?
Right, it's like tradition colliding with unforeseen circumstances.
Exactly, and it forces us to think about the balance
Right.
between preserving those traditions, ensuring safety through regulations,
Right.
and understanding the potential risks in these local food and drink economies.
It's a much bigger story than just those 73 people.
Yeah, it's about tradition, modernity, and public health.
This incident reminds us how important it is to have strong quality control.
Yeah, even for traditional products.
Exactly. And we need clear guidelines, effective enforcement, and ongoing education
Absolutely.
to protect both producers and consumers.
Right.
And maintain trust in local products.
And once that forensic lab report comes out, we'll have a clearer understanding of what happened, and the findings could offer some valuable lessons.
Absolutely.
Not just for Telangana, but for other regions facing similar situations.
Right. It could have global implications.
Yeah, for how we think about and regulate traditional food and beverage production.
I think the outcomes of this investigation will be really important,
Yeah.
not only for understanding this specific case, but also for informing preventative strategies
Yeah.
and best practices in similar contexts worldwide.
Globally.
It could lead to updates in regulations, monitoring protocols,
Yeah.
and public health awareness campaigns
Right.
to prevent this from happening again and to safeguard traditional foodways.
Well, I think that's a good place to leave it for today. We'll be back as soon as we have more information.
Sounds good.
So stay tuned.